There's an enemy within the mind of every trader. It's ignoring this enemy, trying to pretend it's not there or bullying it through it. That's what creates the biggest problem that traders have. They don't want to see this enemy. And you might know the enemy by different words. Some people call it a gremlin. Other people say my evil twin. Other people call it the voice of my fear. At any rate, what happens is by not acknowledging that fear and not learning how to work with that fear, you end up never being able to achieve the kind of potential that exists within trading. Let's take a look at it this way. If you begin to recognize that the truth is that no matter how good your platform, no matter how good your methodology, what you discover is that those two parts of the trading system work in conjunction with your psychology. Okay? There is no success in trading without combining platform, methodology, and psychology. Something has to drive that methodology and that platform. The problem is we very rarely face that enemy within, that gremlin within us. You would might know it as overconfidence. Okay, for those of you who do impulse trading, chase trades, revenge trade, get yourself into crazy places, or you might call it self-doubt. That's how that enemy within shows up in your mind. The question is, do you see that enemy? Do you see that gremlin before the self-doubt takes over and fear is riding? Or do you see that enemy within you before the temptation of jumping into silly trades takes over? That's the key, friends. So what we know is that trading has to also include psychology. Most people ignore that at their own risk, and they burn out. So ultimately, what we're looking for then is once you have platform down, once you have method down, we know that the gap that's missing is psychology. Okay? That's what you have to start looking for. And in there, you need to start seeing what happens, literally when you are exposed to uncertainty. What we know, your biology, there's a direct path. The moment that mind, that caveman brain mind that you have, that you carry with you into trading every day, we know that the moment that it experiences vulnerability, what's going to happen, and by the way, that's uncertainty. The moment the brain touches uncertainty and risk, there you go. Vulnerability shows up. In vulnerability, there is that discomfort. You know that discomfort, that feeling in your gut, that tenseness, okay, or that's what we're talking about. That's the voice of your fear, or that's the voice of your overconfidence. Both lead to destruction. What you're doing is you're going, okay, I know that. Okay, so uncertainty biologically leads to vulnerability. Vulnerability leads to discomfort. Friends, the big deal is that discomfort. You're wired, fight-flight response, to go down fight-flight at the moment you're experiencing the discomfort. What you have to do is you have to overcome what evolution has wired, and you're going to have to train the brain and the mind to move from discomfort to concern. That's a trick. It is not going to happen by hocus pocus. Sorry about that. It is going to come by training. You're going to have to teach that brain not to flip out when exposed to uncertainty. Let's put it this way. What do you think would happen if you're an untrained soldier and you're put in the midst of the chaos of war, of battle? Your brain, you're totally unprepared for it. No matter what kind of equipment you have, you still don't have the mind that's built to operate in that environment. That gremlin comes alive and you become your own worst enemy. That's exactly what happens in trading. Your brain is not wired to work with the uncertainty and risk of trading and probability. That's the antithesis of what it's designed for. Your experience in biological terms and then psychological terms is that you learn to control environment, control outcome. You make things happen. That doesn't work in trading. That's when you say, I'm going to tough it out, I'm going to push through, or I'm going to pretend that it's not going to happen this time. It is. When you experience that fear, when you experience that overconfidence, okay, there is a voice inside your head, right here, right inside the head, that starts altering the way you perceive, the way you work trading. Until you learn to find that enemy, that old way of doing things, and rebuild it into higher functioning, you're stuck. You stay in almost there, and every time you're almost there, something gets in the way. It blows up. I've had traders who say, I've had good weeks, I've had good months, and then all of a sudden it starts falling apart again. They've lost sight of the one thing that they really have to look at. That enemy within them never stopped. It's trying to find the angle, and until you develop the awareness, okay, to say, I'm going to turn toward that fear, I'm going to turn toward that overconfidence, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. It may be uncomfortable for me, and I may want to run and hide the other way, but I'm actually going to turn toward it. It is at this moment that the world opens and you begin to say, I can retrain this. And yes, you can. In our courses, in our work, what you discover, it's all about retraining that instinctual urge for survival, so that when you get an uncertainty, it doesn't automatically trigger to fight flight. You train yourself so that the voice of fight flight, the voice of your fear, the voice of overconfidence is not what engages uncertainty. You learn how to calm that down, to soothe that. But then what you learn to do is you realize that there are other programs, emotional programs, other than fear, other than anger, other than lust or greed, that can be brought forward to create the mind that engages the uncertainty of trading. Friends, that's where the action happens. That's where you begin to realize, I can think in terms of probability, not in terms of survival. It does take work. It takes effort. But you can retool, you can reprogram it, and you can overcome the enemy that lurks within you. It's going to always destroy potential. It's going to keep you from achieving what you can. And you need to ask, is my emotional ignorance worth it? Blowing up accounts, blowing up my capital? Or would I rather face that fear, learn how to do that, train, and learn how to do that and become the trader I could be? If you decide that, come to our website. Look at the courses, look at the books, look at the free stuff, tons and tons of stuff. Read the article that's associated with this video. Go to the webinar that's associated with this video. Learn about self-knowledge and turn it into a new mind. Thank you.